Live to Learn USA. This is Doug Montezella. Thanks for tuning in. Today I want to talk about real estate. This is an area I've been hyper-focused on over the past couple months and really looking at rental properties and Airbnb, short-term rentals, because these are powerful tools, just real estate in general, to build wealth over the long term and kind of sustain income over time. So I want to tackle the first, I think, main question that people have. I want to handle that head on is what percent down should I do for my property? I'm looking at real estate and really what do I do? So I'm going to walk you through a deal I'm currently in the process of closing on in August this month, and just kind of break it down for you, and hopefully you'll be able to really come away with, I can secure properties for a very low percent down, and that's still an advantage investment opportunity. I'm not losing by not putting 20% down. So let me show you how. So the property I'm currently looking at and closing on is a single family home, and I'm living by myself, so I know it's a good opportunity for a multiple bedroom house, and then I can rent out rooms and build rental income that way. So this house is $200,000. So some of the things that you have to think about is how much you put down, right? So really, there's two schools of thought on this, right? And this is the range of potential opportunities, 3.5 to 20%. So those are really the range, the bookends of what you can put down for a house. And you can see here, based on a $200,000 house, 20%, that's $40,000. 3.5% of that, that's going to be $7,000. Okay, so the key thing here is there's two things that are going to impact your decision, right? Of which end, and yes, there's intermediate steps in the middle, and you can do those calcs, but I just want to keep it simple for the purposes of this video. So you can see that's a massively different amount of money that you're going to sink into this property, right? And what's the benefit of mustering up $40,000 over $7,000? Is there even one at all? Let's take a look. So the two key things here is your percent interest rate. Okay, so in my particular example, I was talking with my lender. This is the person who's going to offer you the mortgage, and it could be from any of the big banks, Chase, it could be Quicken Loans, really any of these companies. I definitely suggest that you shop around. But once you find one with the most competitive rate, and it's important to work with them and understand and run cases. And okay, what's my percent interest rate if I put 3.5 down? And what's my percentage interest rate if I put 20% down? And depending on your market, how competitive it is with mortgage lenders and things like that, I was shocked in my case, and it might be different in other areas, but there was literally zero difference in this 20% to 3.5%. So what is the driver to put more down in this scenario? It definitely does not come from percent interest rate. And if it does, you can do the same calcs to this as I'm gonna do to the next scenario. So my lender said it's 3.65% interest for both of these. So, okay, zero driver for me to lock up $33,000 more in this house from that standpoint. And the next thing is PMI. You're gonna hear about this, and it gets like a terribly bad rap for, I think, no reason whatsoever. So PMI is private mortgage insurance. This essentially is you're paying for insurance to the bank that's going to protect them if you defaulted on your loan, and you're mandatory, you need to pay it, assuming you put anything less than 20% down, you have to pay PMI. So for this particular example, the PMI for my mortgage here was $61 per month. Okay, so that's really the only other difference here, assuming this was the same, the only difference there. So if we take a look at what does that look like a month, right? So if you're gonna step up to put extra $33,000 down, you better understand what the return on investment is on that. So let's look 61 times 12. Okay, so this is a measly $732 a year, okay? So let's take a look at that. So since the delta here is $33,000 between putting 3.5% down or 20% down, what's the benefit of that, right? So literally you can find the percent return on that investment by simply dividing 732 by 33,000. Okay, that's 2.2% return on that investment, okay? Would you ever invest in a stock or anything with a 2% return on it when stock market S&P 500 has averaged over 9.8% a year over the last 130 years? It makes 0 sense to let this drive you to put $40,000 in your house. Why? Because it's a 2.2% return on that $33,000, and also assuming there was a limit on capital that you have available, right? You're gonna be able to lock up a lot more properties at that 3.5%, right? So you can jump to different properties because you're saving that money and you're not waiting for this house to be a massive investment that you lock up tons of capital in. So 2.2%. So I suggest that you run these numbers, right? So when you're talking with your lender and they're talking percent down, do exactly what I just did. So the only other thing that could be different is your percent interest rate, right? It might be 4% for here and then 5% for 3.5% down. Same principle, right? You're gonna understand what's the incremental cost in that on a per year basis at that higher interest rate, what's it costing you? And then you add that to the PMI and then divide that by the differential in your down payments. And that's gonna give you a percent return. And if it's not over 10 to 12%, I would not lock up that much money into that piece of real estate. So hopefully this kind of motivates you to jump into the real estate market because you see clearly that you don't need a ton of money to lock up a large amount of assets. So I'm gonna kind of be building a lot more real estate tips as I kind of get some time here, because there's a ton of things I'm learning and a ton of things that you can do that are gonna set yourself up for success and continue to develop wealth over the long term. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, click the thumbs up as well as subscribe to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. This is Doug Montezella. Take care.